The morning shift at the Galactic Federation Communications Center started like any other day. Operator Velthar checked the status boards and saw the usual green lights from all member worlds. Earth's signal came through strong and steady, carrying news broadcasts, ship schedules, and trade reports. Then at exactly 14:27 Galactic Standard Time, Earth went quiet. Commander Hyunwoo Park was drinking coffee in the Federation cafeteria when the emergency alert sounded. He had been stationed on Proxima Station for 3 years, serving as Earth's liaison officer. The job was mostly boring paperwork and translating human stubbornness into diplomatic language that other species could understand. "All communication from Earth has stopped," announced the station AI. "Please report to emergency stations." Hyunwoo dropped his coffee cup and ran to the communication center. The main screen showed Earth sector with a flashing red indicator. No signals, no data streams, nothing. "When did this start?" he asked Operator Velthar. 17 minutes ago, the alien replied, its tentacles dancing nervously over the control panel. All frequencies went silent at once, not even background noise. This was wrong. Earth never went completely silent. Even during natural disasters or wars, some signals always got through. The planet had billions of people and thousands of communication satellites. Complete silence was impossible. Admiral So-Young Kim had been reviewing fleet reports when her aide burst into her office on Earth. Lieutenant Taemin Lee looked pale and worried. "Admiral, we're getting urgent calls from the Federation," he said. "They say we've gone silent, but all our systems show normal operation." So-Young frowned. She could hear the normal sounds of the command center outside her office. Ships were launching and landing at the spaceport. The communication arrays were working perfectly. "Show me the external communication logs," she ordered. Taemin pulled up the data on her screen. According to Earth systems, they were broadcasting normally to the galaxy. But when he tried to ping Federation stations, nothing went out. "It's like we're in a bubble," he said quietly. "We can talk to each other, but nothing gets past our solar system." Dr. Ji-hai Choi was in her laboratory when the lockdown began. She had been studying samples from the mining operation in the outer system when security forces sealed the building. No one could leave and no outside communication was allowed. "What's happening?" she asked the security chief. "Emergency Protocol Aegis," he replied. "All research facilities are under lockdown until further notice." Ji-hai had heard whispers about Project Aegis but never got clearance to know the details. It was supposedly some kind of defense project, but defense against what? Humans had been part of the Federation for 200 years. There were no major threats. Back on Proxima Station, panic was spreading through Federation Command. Admiral Kethvar, a reptilian species that had led the Federation military for 50 years, called an emergency meeting. "We've lost all contact with Earth," he announced to the gathered officers. "This could be an invasion, a natural disaster, or something worse." "What about their defense fleet?" asked General Nixtall. "Surely some ships escaped whatever happened." Hyunwoo stood up. "Admiral, I need to tell you something about Earth's recent activities. They've been acting strange for the past few months." All eyes turned to him. As Earth's liaison, he was the closest thing they had to an expert on human behavior. "They've been pulling their ships back from joint operations," he continued, "canceling training exercises, refusing technology sharing agreements. My government said it was budget cuts, but now I'm not sure." Admiral Kethvar's scales darkened with worry. "You think they planned this?" "I don't know what to think," Hyunwoo admitted. "But humans don't usually do things without a reason." 3 probe ships were sent to investigate. The crews were volunteers from different species, equipped with the Federation's most advanced sensors and communication equipment. They would approach Earth's solar system carefully and report what they found. Captain Woo Jin Nam commanded the lead probe ship. He was one of the few humans serving in Federation forces outside of Earth's own fleet. His loyalty to the Federation was unquestioned, which made him perfect for this mission. As they approached the edge of Earth's solar system, their instruments began acting strangely. Energy readings fluctuated wildly, and their navigation systems couldn't get a clear fix on anything. "Something's interfering with our sensors," reported his science officer. It's like there's a field around the entire system. Captain Nam ordered them to proceed slowly. They needed to know what happened to his homeworld, even if it meant risking their lives. Then their communication with Federation Command cut out. On Proxima Station, the command center watched in horror as the 3 probe ships disappeared from their screens one by one. First Captain Nam's ship, then the other 2. Not destroyed, just gone as if they had never existed. "Send more ships," ordered Admiral Kethvar. "Sir, with respect," said Commander Hyunwoo. "Maybe we should think about this differently. What if Earth doesn't need help? What if they chose to go silent?" The Admiral's tail lashed with anger. "You think your people would abandon their allies without warning?" Hyunwoo thought about the mining operations in Earth's outer system, the secret meetings he'd been excluded from, and the gradual withdrawal from Federation activities. "Maybe they found something," he said slowly. "Something that changed everything." Dr. Yoonji Seo, the Federation's leading expert on human technology, was called to analyze Earth's final transmissions. She studied every data packet, every signal, fragment from the moments before the silence began. "There's something here," she told the investigation team. In the last hour before they went quiet, Earth's power consumption spiked by 300%. Every power plant on the planet was running at maximum capacity. "Powering what?" asked Admiral Kethvar. "I don't know," she admitted, "but whatever it was, it required more energy than their entire civilization normally uses." Days passed with no word from Earth. The Federation Council met in emergency session. Some members wanted to declare Earth lost and remove them from the Federation. Others demanded military action to break whatever barrier surrounded the system. "Perhaps the humans finally destroyed themselves," suggested Council Member Zephyrin. "They were always the most violent species in the Federation." "Commander," Hyunwoo stood to address the Council. "Honorable members, I've lived among humans my entire life. They're not suicidal. If Earth went silent, they had a reason." "Then where are they?" demanded Council Member Torgun. "Why won't they answer our calls?" Hyunwoo looked out at the assembled representatives of dozens of alien species. They were scared, he realized. For 200 years, humans had been the unpredictable junior members of the Federation. Useful in their own way, but not important enough to worry about. Now they were gone, and nobody knew what it meant. "Maybe," he said quietly. "They're not the same humans who joined the Federation 200 years ago. Maybe they've become something else." 2 weeks after Earth went silent, the Federation assembled their largest investigation fleet in history. General Woojin Nam commanded the operation from the battleship Harmony. The irony of his name wasn't lost on him. A human investigating. What happened to humanity? "Final systems check," he announced to the bridge crew. The fleet consisted of 47 ships from 12 different species, each bringing their best technology and most experienced crews. Captain Dae Ho Yoon commanded the reconnaissance squadron. His ships were fast and stealthy, designed to gather information without being detected. As they approached Earth's solar system, his sensors began picking up strange readings. "General, you need to see this," he reported over the communication link. "There's something around the entire solar system. It looks like a barrier of some kind." Dr. Eunji Seo studied the data from her science ship. The readings made no sense according to known physics. The barrier appeared to be made of folded spacetime, creating a bubble around Earth's system that shouldn't be possible. How are the humans generating this, she wondered aloud. Her assistant, a young researcher named Kepler, looked equally puzzled. "Maybe they're not," he suggested. "Maybe something else is holding them prisoner." But Dr. Seo wasn't convinced. The energy patterns looked too organized, too purposeful to be a prison. This looked like protection. Lieutenant Jae Sung Kang piloted his scout ship closer to the barrier. He was one of the Federation's best reconnaissance specialists, known for getting information from impossible places. But this was unlike anything he'd ever encountered. As his ship approached the barrier, his instruments went crazy. Power systems fluctuated wildly, navigation computers crashed, and his communication equipment filled with static. He quickly pulled back before his ship suffered permanent damage. "It's not just a barrier," he reported to General Nam. It's actively interfering with our technology. Any ship that gets too close starts breaking down. The fleet moved to a safe distance and established a monitoring post. For days, they studied the barrier, trying to understand how it worked. Every test they ran gave them more questions than answers. The barrier wasn't solid. Ships could probably pass through it, but they would be completely cut off from outside communication and their systems would fail. It was designed to keep the galaxy out while keeping Earth in. Dr. Seo made the first breakthrough. While analyzing electromagnetic patterns in the barrier, she noticed something familiar. The energy signature matched theoretical papers written by human scientists 50 years earlier. Papers that most Federation scientists had dismissed as impossible fantasy. They called it dimensional folding, she explained to General Nam. The idea was to bend space-time so that distances became meaningless. Most of us thought it was just mathematical curiosities with no practical application. But humans made it work? He asked. Apparently so. But this would require technology far beyond anything they had when they joined the Federation. Something must have changed. Captain Yoon's stealth ships detected something else. Inside the barrier, they could see massive energy signatures around every planet and moon in Earth's solar system. Construction projects on a scale that dwarfed anything in Federation space. Mars is showing industrial activity bigger than most Federation worlds, he reported. And there's something happening around Jupiter that's generating more power than a small star. The investigators realized that Earth hadn't gone silent because of disaster. They had gone silent because they were busy. Whatever technology created, the barrier was also allowing them to reshape their entire solar system. General Nam called a meeting of his senior officers. The conference room on the Harmony was filled with representatives from every major Federation species. The mood was tense and worried. We need to accept that we're not dealing with the same humans who joined the Federation, he began. They've gained access to technology that makes our most advanced systems look primitive. But how? Demanded Captain Velthon of the Altarian Navy. 200 years ago, they couldn't even travel faster than light without our help. Dr. Seo pulled up, her analysis on the main screen. I've been studying their mining reports from the past year. 3 months ago, they found something in their outer system, an object that didn't match any known materials or energy signatures. She paused, letting the implications sink in. I think they found technology left by a precursor species. Something so advanced that it allowed them to leap thousands of years ahead in development. The room fell silent. Precursor artifacts were the stuff of legends. Ancient species that had transcended physical existence millions of years ago, leaving behind technology that modern civilizations couldn't understand or replicate. If that's true, said Commander Texwin, then we're not investigating a missing member world. We're meeting a new form of life that used to be human. Lieutenant Kang raised his hand. Sir, I've been monitoring their internal communications. We can't understand most of it because they're using new encryption methods, but I've caught fragments. They're not calling themselves humans anymore. What do they call themselves? Asked General Nam. The Transcended, Kang replied. And they're not just rebuilding their solar system. They're preparing for something bigger. Over the following days, more pieces of the puzzle came together. The barrier wasn't just protecting Earth from outside interference. It was containing something while the transformation completed, like a cocoon around a butterfly that wasn't ready to emerge. Dr. Seo's team detected exotic matter particles leaking through the barrier, materials that shouldn't exist according to standard physics, but which seemed to be the foundation of Earth's new technology. They're not just using precursor technology, she realized. They're becoming like the precursors themselves. Captain Yoon's scouts discovered that the barrier extended in dimensions beyond normal space. Using specialized sensors, they could detect that Earth's system was connected to other realities, other universes where different rules applied. It's like they've built a bridge between our universe and somewhere else, he reported. Somewhere where the laws of physics work differently. The investigation fleet had been monitoring for 3 weeks when something unexpected happened. A single ship appeared outside the barrier. It was clearly of human design. but unlike any vessel they had ever seen. The hull seemed to shift and change as they watched, and it generated no detectable energy signature despite obviously being powered. The ship sent a simple message on an open frequency. "We know you're watching. We're not ready to talk yet. Please wait." Then it disappeared, not by flying away, but by simply ceasing to exist in their reality. General Nam stared at the empty space where the ship had been. His hands shook slightly as he realized what this meant. Humanity hadn't just advanced technologically. They had evolved into something that could step in and out of existence at will. "Send a message to Federation Command," he ordered. "Tell them we're not dealing with a crisis anymore. We're dealing with first contact with a species that used to be human, but has become something else entirely." Dr. Seo was studying the energy readings from the mysterious ship when she noticed something that made her blood run cold. The ship hadn't generated energy. It had borrowed it from other universes, pulling power from realities where different physical laws allowed impossible things. "General," she called out, her voice tight with worry, "if they can do this with one small ship, what do you think they can do with their entire civilization?" General Nam looked at the barrier surrounding Earth's solar system and tried to imagine what kind of beings humanity had become. In 3 months, they had gone from a minor Federation member to something that could manipulate the basic structure of reality itself. "I think," he said slowly, "we're about to find out what happens when a species evolves beyond the need for the rest of the galaxy." President Inho Beck stood in what used to be called the Oval Office, but the room had changed dramatically in the past months. The walls now showed live images from across the solar system, displaying the massive construction projects that were reshaping humanity's home. Mars glowed with the lights of new cities, and the asteroid belt sparkled with mining operations that processed matter at the atomic level. "They're still out there, Mr. President," reported Admiral Yansu Park, commander of Earth's new defense fleet. "The Federation Investigation Force has been watching us for a month now." Inho nodded. He could see the alien ships on the displays, maintaining their careful distance from the barrier that protected Earth's transformation. Soon, it would be time to reveal what humanity had become. Dr. Sungmin Han entered the room carrying a data pad filled with reports from Project Aegis. As the chief scientist overseeing humanity's evolution, he had worked without rest since the discovery that changed everything. "The integration process is complete," he announced. "Every human on Earth and in the colonies has undergone the enhancement. We're ready for the next phase." 3 months earlier, human miners working in the outer system had discovered something that shouldn't exist. Buried in an asteroid was a crystalline structure the size of a small building, containing what appeared to be a complete database of advanced scientific knowledge. At first, the scientists who studied it thought they were looking at some kind of advanced computer. But as they decoded the information, they realized it was something far more significant. It was a gift left by a species that had evolved beyond physical existence millions of years ago. The crystal contained not just technology, but a complete guide to transcendence itself, instructions for how a biological species could evolve beyond the limitations of matter and energy, becoming something that existed across multiple dimensions simultaneously. "The Federation would have taken it from us," Inho said to his advisors, during those early days. "They would have studied it for decades, shared the benefits among their member species according to political hierarchies, and humanity would receive whatever scraps they decided we deserved. So Earth made a different choice. They built the barrier to give themselves time and privacy to undergo the transformation the crystal made possible. The silence wasn't weakness, it was evolution in progress." Captain Bo-Ram Lim had been one of the first volunteers for the enhancement process. Her body had been altered at the cellular level, her mind expanded to process information across multiple dimensions, her consciousness linked to the collective knowledge of all enhanced humans while maintaining her individual identity. Now she piloted ships that existed in several realities at once, traveling between stars not by crossing space but by stepping through dimensions where distance had no meaning. The vessel she commanded could reshape itself according to need, drawing energy from parallel universes where the laws of physics allowed impossible things. "The Federation fleet is requesting communication," she reported to Admiral Park. "Should I respond?" Not yet, the Admiral replied. President Bayek wants to address them personally when we're ready. The transformation had not been easy. Many humans struggled with the expansion of consciousness that came with enhancement. Their minds, adapted for three-dimensional thinking, had to learn to perceive reality as it truly was. A complex web of interconnected dimensions where thought and matter were different aspects of the same fundamental force. Dr. Han's team had worked to make the process as gentle as possible, but there was no way to avoid the fundamental change in what it meant to be human. Enhanced humans could still feel emotions, form relationships, and maintain their personalities, but they also shared a collective awareness that linked every enhanced individual to the greater whole. It's like becoming part of something larger, while remaining yourself, explained Dr. Ji-Hai Choi, who had been enhanced 3 weeks earlier. Her research into xenobiology had prepared her better than most for the expansion of perspective that came with transcendence. The enhanced humans discovered that the galaxy was far more complex than anyone had imagined. Hidden throughout space were artifacts and structures left by dozens of transcended species, invisible to conventional senses but obvious to enhanced perception. Earth's solar system was actually sitting at the intersection of several dimensional pathways, which explained why the precursor species had chosen to leave their gift there. They had known that eventually, an intelligent species would develop enough to find and use their legacy. We're not the first species to undergo this transformation, Dr. Han explained to the Transcendence Council that had replaced Earth's old government. And we won't be the last. The galaxy is full of species at different stages of evolution. President In-ho, now enhanced like all Earth's leaders, could perceive the Federation fleet's worry and confusion. Their primitive sensors could detect some of what humanity was building, but they couldn't understand the true scope of the changes taking place. Mars had been completely terraformed in a matter of weeks, its atmosphere and climate adjusted using technology that manipulated matter at the quantum level. The new cities weren't just built. They were grown from crystalline structures that assembled themselves according to human needs and desires. The asteroid belt had become a vast factory, complex where enhanced humans created materials that didn't exist in normal spacetime. These substances could only exist within the dimensional fields that protected Earth's system, but they allowed for construction projects that redefined what was possible. Jupiter's moons were being converted into research stations where humans studied the deeper mysteries revealed by their transcendence. They had learned to communicate with the energy patterns left by other transcended species, gaining access to knowledge accumulated over millions of years. It's time, President In-ho decided. They've waited long enough, and we're ready to show them what we've become. Captain Lim received the order to make contact with the Federation fleet. Her ship, the Harmony's Dream, stepped through dimensional space and appeared just outside the investigation fleet's perimeter. The alien sensors couldn't detect her properly. To their instruments, the ship appeared to flicker in and out of existence, sometimes solid, sometimes transparent, occasionally seeming to exist in multiple locations at once. Federation Investigation Fleet, this is Captain Boram Lim of the Earth Transcendence Council. She broadcast on their communication frequencies. President In-ho Bayek wishes to speak with your commander. General Nam's voice came back immediately, tight with nervousness. Captain Lim, we've been trying to contact Earth for over a month. Your planet went completely silent. We thought you were in danger. Boram smiled, though the aliens couldn't see her expression. We were never in danger, General. We were becoming something new. President Bayek is prepared to explain, but only if you're ready to understand that the humans who joined the Federation no longer exist. There was a long pause as the Federation officers tried to process this information. What do you mean they no longer exist? Asked General Nam. We transcended our original form, Boram replied calmly. We discovered the path that all sufficiently advanced species eventually find. The transformation from matter-based life to something that exists across multiple dimensions simultaneously. Dr. Seo's voice broke into the conversation. Captain, our sensors show your ship operating on principles that violate known physics. How is this possible? Dr. Seo, your physics are limited by your three-dimensional perspective. Boram explained patiently. When you can perceive reality, as it truly exists, what you call violations become simple applications of natural law. President Inho's voice joined the communication link from Earth. General Nam, I'm transmitting coordinates for a neutral meeting zone outside our protective barrier. If your fleet wishes to understand what humanity has become, I'm prepared to demonstrate our new capabilities. Is this some kind of threat? Asked General Nam. No, General, replied the President. It's an invitation to witness the next stage of evolution. The meeting took place in open space, halfway between Earth's barrier and the Federation fleet. General Nam brought his command ship forward while the rest of the fleet maintained a safe distance. Nobody knew what to expect from humanity's demonstration. Ambassador Kyung-ho-oh materialized on the bridge of General Nam's ship without any visible means of transport. One moment the space was empty. The next moment a human figure stood there, solid and real, but somehow different from any human the Federation officers had ever seen. Ambassador, General Nam said carefully, how did you get aboard my ship? Our sensors detected no transport beam, no shuttle, nothing. Kyung-ho smiled. General, we no longer require physical transportation between nearby locations. Enhanced humans can exist in multiple places simultaneously, moving our consciousness as needed. Dr. Seo stepped forward, her scientific curiosity overcoming her nervousness. Ambassador, our readings show massive energy expenditure throughout your solar system. What are you building? We're not building, Dr. Seo, the ambassador replied. We're growing. Humanity is expanding beyond the limitations of a single planet, a single solar system, even a single dimension. Through the ship's main viewer, they could see a small vessel approaching from the direction of Earth. Fleet Admiral Mi Young-shin commanded the craft, which was unlike anything in Federation databases. The hull seemed to shift and change as they watched, sometimes appearing metallic, sometimes crystalline, occasionally becoming translucent. That ship? Breathed Captain Yoon. It's changing shape. Matter is more flexible than your physics suggests, explained Ambassador Oh. When you understand the underlying structure of reality, reshaping physical objects becomes as simple as thought. Admiral Shin's voice came over the communication system. General Nam, I'm going to demonstrate some of our new capabilities. Please, observe and record everything for your Federation Council. The human ship moved to a position where both fleets could observe clearly. Then something impossible happened. The vessel began to glow with internal light, and space around it started to bend and twist. She's manipulating space-time itself, whispered Dr. Seo, staring at her instruments in disbelief. Admiral Shin's ship reached out with tendrils of energy and plucked a small asteroid from the nearby debris field. The rock, roughly the size of a city block, floated toward the ship as if it weighed nothing. Observe, said Admiral Shin over the communication link. The asteroid began to change, its rocky surface smoothed and reformed, the minerals within rearranging themselves at the atomic level. Within minutes, the ugly chunk of space debris had become a perfect sphere of gleaming crystal. Atomic manipulation, Dr. Seo muttered, taking frantic notes. They're rearranging matter at the subatomic level without any visible technology. But Admiral Shin wasn't finished. She guided the crystal sphere to a position several kilometers away, then did something that made every Federation scientist question their understanding of the universe. The sphere split in two, but instead of breaking apart, both halves remained connected by streams of energy that existed in dimensions the observers couldn't perceive. One half moved toward Earth's barrier while the other stayed in place. Quantum entanglement, Admiral Shin explained. But not limited to particles. Enhanced humans can entangle entire objects, entire structures, across any distance. Dr. Chan Wu, Jian, the theoretical physicist who had helped develop Earth's transcendence technology, appeared on General Nam's bridge in the same way Ambassador Oh had arrived. Dr. Seo, he said, addressing the Federation scientist directly, your species understands 3 dimensions of space and 1 of time. Enhanced humans perceive 11 dimensions of space and 4 of time. From our perspective, your reality is only a small slice of what truly exists. That's impossible, protested Dr. Seo. Our mathematics show that additional dimensions must be curled up at quantum scales. Your mathematics are correct for unenhanced perception, Dr. Jian replied patiently. But when consciousness expands beyond biological limitations, those dimensions become accessible. Captain Haijin Ryu's voice joined the conversation from another ship that had appeared near Admiral Shin's vessel. General Nam, I'm going to demonstrate dimensional travel. Please track my ship with your sensors. The Federation officers watched as Captain Ryu's ship simply vanished. Not destroyed, not moved to another location, but gone from their reality, entirely. Where did she go? Asked Captain Yoon. She stepped into a parallel dimension, explained Dr. Jian. One where the physical laws allow faster-than-light travel without relativistic effects. Seconds later, Captain Ryu's ship reappeared on the other side of the Federation fleet, having crossed a distance that should have taken hours in mere moments. But the energy requirements, sputtered Dr. Seo. Moving through dimensions should require the power output of an entire star. It would if we were limited to the energy available in this dimension, said Dr. John. Enhanced humans can draw power from multiple realities simultaneously. The universe has infinite energy if you know how to access it. General Nam felt a chill of fear and awe. Ambassador O, are you saying that humanity no longer considers itself bound by the laws of physics? We're bound by the true laws of physics, the ambassador replied. Not the simplified version that three-dimensional beings can perceive. Reality is far more flexible and interconnected than your science suggests. Admiral Shin's demonstration continued. She created a miniature star from compressed hydrogen, generating a fusion reaction that burned bright enough to be seen from both fleets. Then she extinguished it by willing the nuclear forces to stop functioning in that specific area of space. Localized manipulation of fundamental forces, she explained. When you understand that what you call natural laws are actually just patterns in higher dimensional space, changing those patterns becomes possible. The most shocking demonstration came when Captain Ryu's ship seemed to duplicate itself. Two identical vessels appeared side by side, both fully functional and crewed. That's not a copy, Dr. John explained to the stunned Federation observers. That's the same ship existing in two slightly different dimensional phases simultaneously. Captain Ryu is piloting both versions at once. Dr. Seo's voice was barely a whisper. You're not just advanced. You've become something that transcends individual existence. Enhanced humans maintain individual consciousness, Ambassador O clarified. But we also share collective awareness. I am still Kyung-ho O, with my own thoughts and memories. But I'm also connected to the greater whole of transcended humanity. General Nam realized that everything had changed. The humans who joined the Federation 200 years ago no longer existed. In their place was something that could manipulate reality itself, beings who existed across multiple dimensions and could draw power from parallel universes. What does this mean for the Federation? He asked. Ambassador O's expression became serious. General, the Federation as it currently exists is based on scarcity and competition, species fighting over resources, territory, and political power. Enhanced humans have moved beyond those limitations. Are you withdrawing from the Federation? Asked General Nam. We're offering the Federation a choice, replied the ambassador. Continue as you are, bound by three-dimensional thinking and resource-based conflicts, or join us in transcendence and discover what existence can become when you're no longer limited by matter and energy. Admiral Shin's voice added, But understand, General, the transformation is irreversible. Once a species transcends, they can never go back to what they were before. Dr. Seo looked at her instruments, which were recording energy patterns that defied every theory she'd ever studied. How many other species have made this choice? More than you might think, said Dr. John. The galaxy is full of transcended beings. Most of them have moved beyond interest in physical reality, but they're still there if you know how to perceive them. As the demonstration ended, General Nam realized he was no longer investigating a missing Federation member. He was conducting first contact with a new form of life that had evolved from humanity into something that existed beyond the normal rules of the universe. "I need to report this to Federation Command," he said. "Of course," replied Ambassador. "Oh. But tell them this. Earth isn't lost. We've simply become something that the current Federation structure cannot contain. The question now is whether the galaxy is ready to evolve with us." 6 months had passed since Earth revealed its transformation to the galaxy, and the Federation was crumbling. Chancellor Donghyun Ko stood in the Transcendence Council chamber, watching displays that showed the political chaos spreading across known space. "The Velthari Republic has declared independence from the Federation," reported his aide. "They're requesting guidance for their own transcendence process." "That makes 7 species so far," said Dr. Ari Moon, who specialized in helping other races understand the consciousness transfer technology. "The galaxy is splitting into 3 groups: those who want to join us, those who want to fight us, and those who want to hide from us." The revelation of humanity's evolution had shattered the comfortable certainties that held galactic civilization together. For thousands of years, the Federation had operated on the assumption that technological progress was gradual, and that no single species could gain overwhelming advantages over others. Earth had proven those assumptions wrong. Admiral Junseo Kim, commander of humanity's new exploration fleets, materialized in the chamber. His ships were no longer bound by the need to travel through normal spacetime, allowing him to oversee operations across multiple star systems simultaneously. "The situation is getting worse," he reported. "The Keth-Var hegemony has formed a military alliance with 6 other species. They're calling it the Resistance Coalition, and they're building weapons specifically designed to fight transcended beings." Chancellor Ko nodded grimly. He had expected this reaction from some quarters. Fear and aggression were common responses when a species encountered something beyond their understanding. "Can their weapons actually hurt us?" asked Dr. Moon. "Not really," Admiral Kim replied. "But they can cause significant damage to non-transcended populations caught in the crossfire. The Coalition seems to believe that if they make war costly enough, we'll retreat to our own dimension and leave them alone." The truth was more complex. Enhanced humans had indeed discovered how to exist primarily in higher dimensions, but they maintained connections to baseline reality. They could observe and interact with the physical galaxy whenever they chose, but they were no longer dependent on it for survival. Captain Yuna Huang entered the chamber, her consciousness flickering between multiple dimensional phases as she piloted her exploration vessel through realities that existed beyond normal space-time. "The dimensional surveys are complete," she announced. "We've confirmed what the precursor archives suggested. There are literally millions of transcended species throughout the galaxy, most of them existing in dimensions invisible to baseline perception." This was perhaps the most shocking discovery of humanity's transcendence. The galaxy that 3-dimensional beings perceived as mostly empty space was actually teeming with advanced civilizations that had evolved beyond physical existence. "Some of them have been watching baseline civilization for millions of years," Captain Huang continued. "They're impressed that humans achieved transcendence so quickly after discovering the precursor gift." Dr. Moon pulled up a holographic display showing the dimensional structure around their local stellar neighborhood. To baseline perception, it appeared as normal space with scattered star systems. But enhanced human senses revealed vast cities and structures existing in parallel dimensions, home to beings that had transcended physical limitations eons ago. "They're offering to teach us," she said. "The architects, who transcended 12 million years ago, have techniques for consciousness expansion that we haven't discovered yet. The gardeners, who evolved beyond matter 8 million years ago, want to show us how to nurture new species toward transcendence." Chancellor Ko considered this information carefully. Humanity's transcendence was just the beginning of a journey that could last millions of years. They were infants compared to the ancient beings who inhabited the higher dimensions. "What about our responsibility to the baseline species?" he asked. "We can't just abandon them to figure this out alone." This was the central ethical question facing transcended humanity. They had the power to force other species to evolve, but the transformation had to be chosen freely, or it would fail. Consciousness expansion couldn't be imposed from outside. It had to arise from within. Admiral Kim reported on the latest developments in Federation space. 3 more species have sent delegation ships to our solar system. The Nortaki want to negotiate trade agreements for transcendence technology. The Quintar are offering to become our vassals in exchange for protection from the Coalition. And the Zephyrin are demanding that we reverse our transformation and return to baseline humanity. The Zephyrin don't understand, said Dr. Moon sadly. Transcendence isn't like putting on new clothes that you can take off later. We've evolved beyond our original form. Even if we wanted to go back, the process is irreversible. Captain Huang's ship detected something that made her consciousness flicker with excitement. Chancellor, I'm picking up massive energy signatures from the direction of the galactic core. Something big is happening. The displays in the chamber shifted to show long-range sensor data. Deep in the galaxy's heart, where ancient black holes twisted space-time into impossible configurations, tremendous structures were becoming visible to enhanced perception. The core builders are awakening, whispered Dr. Moon. The precursor archives mentioned them. They transcended so long ago that they became part of the galaxy's fundamental structure. The core builders had evolved beyond individual existence millions of years before Earth was formed. They existed as vast intelligences woven into the fabric of space-time itself, dormant most of the time but capable of awakening when significant events occurred. Humanity's rapid transcendence had apparently caught their attention. A communication reached Earth from the galactic core, transmitted through dimensions that baseline science couldn't detect. The message was simple but profound. Welcome to the greater community. You are ready for the next phase. Chancellor Ko felt a mixture of awe and responsibility. Humanity had barely learned to exist in multiple dimensions, and already they were being invited to join civilizations that predated their solar system. The next phase of what? He asked the vast intelligence that spoke from the galaxy's heart. The answer came not in words but in direct knowledge transfer, concepts flowing into his consciousness faster than thought. The galaxy was more than a collection of stars and planets. It was a living entity, its spiral structure maintained by the collective consciousness of transcended species working together across millions of years. Every sufficiently advanced civilization eventually faced the same choice: remain isolated in their local area of space-time, or join the galactic consciousness that guided the evolution of new species and maintained the cosmic environment necessary for life to flourish. They're offering us a role in galactic governance, Chancellor Ko explained to the Council. Not ruling over baseline species, but helping to create the conditions where new civilizations can develop and eventually transcend themselves. Dr. Y. Moon studied the knowledge transfer carefully. It's like becoming gardeners for the entire galaxy. We would help maintain the cosmic environment, guide the evolution of matter and energy, and occasionally nudge promising species toward transcendence. Admiral Kim realized the implications. This is why the precursors left their gift where we could find it. They knew we were approaching readiness for transcendence, so they provided the tools we needed. Captain Huang's exploration vessel received coordinates for humanity's first assignment as members of the galactic consciousness. A young species in the Andromeda Galaxy had just discovered fire. In a few million years, they might be ready for the kind of guidance that would eventually lead them toward transcendence. Are we ready for this responsibility? Asked Chancellor Ko. The question hung in the air as the Council considered what it meant to evolve from a single planet species to caretakers of galactic civilization. They would maintain their individual consciousness and their connection to Earth, but they would also become part of something vast and ancient that had been shepherding life throughout the universe since before their solar system existed. The Federation will have to find its own path, said Dr. Moon finally. Some species will choose transcendence eventually. Others will remain baseline but develop their own advanced civilizations. A few might destroy themselves. We can offer guidance, but we can't make their choices for them. Admiral Kim's fleets began preparing for humanity's new role. No longer defenders of a single solar system, they would become explorers of infinite realities, teachers for species approaching transcendence, and maintainers of the cosmic conditions necessary for life itself. Captain Huang's vessel prepared to depart for regions of space-time that existed beyond the physical galaxy. Her mission would take her to dimensions where the fundamental forces of reality could be adjusted and refined, ensuring that the universe remained hospitable to the development of consciousness and intelligence as Earth's barrier finally dissolved. No longer needed to protect humanity's transformation, Chancellor Ko sent a final message to the Federation. We haven't abandoned you. We've simply grown beyond the need for your current structure. When your species are ready to transcend the limitations of matter and energy, we'll be here to help. Until then, the galaxy is